Is Delhi under attack again?
Deadly car blast has rocked the national capital. It happened a short while back. At least 8 people have been killed. The explosion happened near the Red Fort.
Is this the return of urban terrorism in India? Was it a terror plot, car explosion, or just security failure? Who is responsible? Who will look into it? And who will take care of this new threat that is present in India? On the evening of 10th November 2025, that is yesterday, a powerful explosion shook not only the one of the most iconic places in Delhi, that is Red Fort area, but also our nation, which initially just seemed like a mere car explosion. Here it has revealed a deeper and far more complicated picture where it is a suspected terror-linked attack. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we are going to understand that what is this new scenario that is emerging in front of us, that just on the day and in the last 15 days where there has been discovery of ammunitions across Delhi NCR, terror-linked groups not claiming the responsibility of this. What is this scenario which is building up? Who are the people responsible? What are the agencies that is looking into? And what is the big picture in front of us? So let us begin with understanding the incident in itself. So yesterday evening, somewhere between 6:50 p.m. to 7:50 p.m., a huge car explosion took place just in front of the gate number 1, Lal Killa metro station. Now this place in itself is symbolic, reason being not only because of the huge monument, also the symbolism that is associated with it, but also the fact this region was densely populated, heavy traffic was there, and it was a classic explosion where there was use of VBEID, which is usually seen in terror-linked terrorist attacks. So when we are talking about this attack, initial number that came out, that was there are more than 13 deaths, but as of now the number that has been confirmed remains around 8 deaths and multiple casualties. And this is something that has shook the nation, with Delhi being the place which has seen attacks, be it 2008, be it the earlier attacks, but here not just the possibility that it might be a terror-linked attack, but also understanding that where it comes from becomes very important. So when we are talking about this whole incident, the image you see is so horrific. The blast was so intense that it blew out the vehicles around it, led to deaths and casualties. This is not just a tragedy. Unfortunately, this is a huge immediate national concern in front of us, because if where we are suspecting it to be a terror attack and it really turns out into one, then we might expect a series of it. And it comes without saying, it has security implications that India needs to be prepared for. Now, when we are talking about this whole incident, you have to understand this incident, the timeline with which it happened. As I said, it started around 6:50 at the Lal Killa metro station. 6 vehicles had caught fire. There have been eyewitnesses, the police, fire brigade, because they are the first responders. But another important thing that you need to understand is the location of this deadly Delhi blast. It is in one of the prime areas where areas like Connaught Place, Karol Bagh, Sadar Bazaar, heavily populated areas weren't so far away either. So the location also highlights into the fact that the idea, if it comes out to be a terrorist attack, the idea was to cause as many casualties as possible. Furthermore, when we are talking about this incident, the first question, that as there has been no clarity as of now, that is this a terrorist attack? Is this a terrorist planned thing that has been done? So in this situation, we have to understand that as of now, there has been no group that has claimed the responsibility of this attack. Furthermore, the government as of now has not given any formal statement saying that this is a terrorist attack. But the problem here is this attack, as I have already just mentioned this word, was vehicle-borne improvised explosive device type. Other than that, peak traffic, densely populated, and a heritage site. All of this make it a perfect fit of execution that is carried out by terrorist outfits. So all of this makes it fit the Terror Act profile. Furthermore, if you talk about the action that has been taken by agencies, so the first thing that has already been done, that the FIR has been registered under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of 1967. Now this is one of the most important acts when we are talking about dealing with terrorism as well as unlawful activities. This is the act which came out in 1967, has been revised 4 times as of now, and especially after 2004 where POTA was revealed, this has multiple powers. Even after 2019, the central government gets to ban organization and designate individuals as terrorists under this very act. Furthermore, another legislation which becomes important here for us, that Explosives Act have also been taken here, that the FIR and the booking under it has been done under the Explosive Acts. Furthermore, we also have involvement of Forensics Bureau, and this is where we get to see that multiple agencies will be coordinating. I'll be coming to the agencies and the details regarding that. And this is where we understand that the government would need to work really hard, because as of now there has been no claiming of responsibility. And even though there is no confirmation, formal confirmation by the government, the way Delhi police and especially the involvement of NIA shows this is a terror related case. Things that are cropping us, such as the ammunition that has been found in Delhi NCR recently, the amount of RDX, the AK-47 and other things such as the linking of this I-20 car that we are talking about to the Pulwama owner, show multiple suggestions and inclinations that yes, where we are suspecting it to be a terror attack could be a real one, and there is no denial to the possibilities that we need to get this figured out so as to understand that what is the scale of threat that needs to be managed. Furthermore, when we are clear on the front that when we are not labeling it as directly as a terrorist attack, but at the same time we are treating it like one, let us understand that where is this coming from. So who is behind this attack? So as of now there is no clarity. The Faridabad incident that happened, the government has segregated that out, that these two are very different things. The ownership of the car has been understood, but there has been a lot of use of fake IDs. Multiple sources are suggesting that it might be linked to Pakistan, but it is too initial to confirm on that. So before as general public we draw conclusions, it is important that there is a proper confirmation that comes out. As of now, the huge possibility that we get to see is a Kashmir based sleeper cell which is operating, which was present in Delhi NCR. And this highlights that yet again our urban cities remain under the threat of direct terror. The reason I am highlighting the urban cities part here is that this is where if terrorist groups strike, they get the maximum attraction, the maximum attention, and which is the primary cause of them carrying out such attacks, that they want people to know this has been done. So this is where we get to see the targeting of urban cities, be it Mumbai 26/11, be it the attacks that have been carried out in Europe. The whole idea is to strike a urban city and gain traction and make people understand that we are here. So this is something that has been figured out as of now. Furthermore, this gives us a preview to the important factor here, that which agencies will be taking care of this. The first one being NIA, National Investigating Agency, established in 2008 under the NIA Act of 2008. Why? The main trigger of establishment of this agency was 26/11, because this whole attack was a consequence of lack of multiple agencies coordination, and that's where NIA is responsible for undertaking pan-India cases with or without state consent related to terrorism. And this is where we also get to see that there is a provision of special NIA courts as well, so as to ensure that the execution is proper, there is a proper timeline which is tied up for FIR. For example, 180 days is given for registering the FIR, 90 days if the case is only IPC based. Furthermore, another important agency which was involved, that is Delhi Police Special Cell. So basically, the state agencies, police agencies, they become the first responder, and also the primary case registration takes place with the particular state or UT related force. Then we have another important agency which is working here, that is Intelligence Bureau, because when we are talking about this attack again comes as a consequence, because some intel which was important, which should have been traced and understood, wasn't, and this is where they are coordinating and doing the intel tracing. Furthermore, other state police forces, as I said, as Haryana is on red alert, Uttar Pradesh is on red alert, Mumbai is on red alert, sources from Jammu and Kashmir related to evidences linking, so state police forces are also involved. And another important one, that is Foreign Science Laboratory, which is directly associated with NIA, stands together. This again comes as a very good example where we get to see multiple agencies coordinating. And when we are talking about prevention of such attacks and responding to, unfortunately, responding to such attacks, this coordination is of eminent importance. This is where we get to see that actual execution of interplay between ministries, interplay between agencies taking place. Now, when we are talking about the communication and intercoordination, we have to understand that Home Ministry had ordered a multi-agency investigation, and because the terrorism angle is involved, it is NIA which is leading it and other agencies facilitating the whole scenario. Now, we will be understanding another important thing here is that what are the security and intelligence dimensions which can point into the fact that if this could have been stopped and it wasn't, then this is pointing towards a security failure. So, when we are talking about the intelligence, this is where we get to understand that there was a possibility, if the intelligence would have been got right, there was a possibility of prevention of this particular attack. Another security loophole that has been highlighted, that the vehicle ownership, the traceability does not exist. There were multiple transfers of the particular vehicle without any digital trace. That means there could be other such cars which do not have the proper vehicle ownership, they have used fake IDs, and it could be done in future. This needs to be addressed. There is a lag between interstate coordination. That means when we are talking about transfer of cars, we are talking about movement of intel, there lacks coordination, and as a consequence we have already seen 2611 and most probably 1011 as well. Then urban vulnerability, where there are places where there is peak traffic, densely populated regions, and also heritage value, they will also be vulnerable to such attacks. So, this shows even after extreme security, there have been certain reports show that there was extreme deployment in the morning of 10th November at Red Fort area, they are still not immune. So, where we get to see a quick post-event response where there was proper management after a disaster that has occurred. The problem is pre-event we have found multiple security dimensions as well as intelligence dimensions that could have been addressed. And this is what will become our lesson, our way forward to address this in all situations. And this all highlights to a bigger picture where we get to see clearly that there is a new urban terror challenge which is present in India. As I already highlighted, the blast site, if you see, this is the Red Fort region. The blast has occurred near to this place. Then we are talking about multiple places around it, be it Jama Masjid, be it other heritage sites, be it other close by regions such as CP, such as Kharol Bagh. All these are densely populated regions. So, we can see the terror striking is gradually shifting to national capital and metros and heavily populated regions rather from being concentrated on border itself. This is what I mean by the urban terror challenge. And you will always find symbolic targets. Red Fort. Red Fort is not just a monument, it is a nationalistic symbol. It is the place from where our Prime Minister gives speech on our Independence Day. So it is being shown that the integrity and sovereignty of India is being targeted in a way in this particular place, so that there is a high psychological impact on the citizens. Furthermore, another important thing that you will see, that the cross-border terror networks, they are getting into understanding the domestic logistics and they are using it for their own advantages. And this also highlights, when we are talking about urban terror challenge, that it is important that the intelligence becomes predictive so as to help and intercept and stop such attacks. Use of AI based intelligence, as much as there is so much importance to that is human intelligence, there still remains excessive importance because of the boom of technology that we have seen in tech int also, that is technological based intel. And this is where it is most important for public to step in, because we need to be eyes and ears of our forces, of our agencies, public vigilance, as well as when we are talking about the administration, the vehicle registration systems. This needs to be worked on, otherwise this will work as the spots where we will see this whole challenge proliferating, going ahead and working against our own country. Now in the last, the only thing I would point out, as I said, there are loopholes that we have seen, and these loopholes are to be lessened so that we do not have to see ever such an attack in our country, where we need to work on strengthening our whole urban intelligence networks, CCTV analytics, tighten vehicle ownership verification, very important, and most important, rental policies as well, which was highlighted in the Faridabad ammunitions that have been caught. Furthermore, interstate coordination, real-time coordination, be it in terms of intelligence, be it in terms of data sharing, or especially when we are talking about suspect modules. And as I pointed out, public participation, which will ensure accountability also, which will ensure preparedness also, and which will ensure vigilance also, is very important. In the end, I would like to say that the Red Fort blast is not an isolated incident. It is like a wake-up call for India's urban security, that the terrorism is not limited to only border regions. Sometimes they hide in plain sight just across the traffic in front of us, and we all need to come together to fight all of this. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.